Yo, 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 yo. Boom, boom, boom. What's going on, family? Just wanted to let you know how much gratitude I have in my heart right now. Huge blessings, huge thank yous to everybody who came out to support my set at Rise and Vibes. I've been telling people that it was the set of a lifetime. It was the best show of my life, and I honestly mean that. And that's all because of the support from all of the people who showed up to support me. And I'm just so grateful. So thank you to everyone who came out. Thanks to my bro King David James for coming out. It was so epic to perform with David after more than a year of no performance, and to celebrate the re-release of our album together on stage. And David absolutely slayed it. And big ups to Ali for having me out to Rise and Vibes, talent buyer for Rise and Vibes and Tico Time, and also to her partner Rocco, who helped me film on very, very short notice after the film crew that was going to be there canceled. I'm super stoked to share that I did get two 4K, actually 6K cameras filming the set, and I recorded it all onto my laptop with multi-track audio and everything. So I've yet to dive in and start editing that, but I'm very stoked that this week I'm planning on getting that all edited and uploaded for everyone, so that anybody who might not have been there or people who want to re-watch the set can get the opportunity to do so. So yeah, once again, just sharing my gratitude, so much gratitude, and also gratitude to myself. You know, there was some self-doubt, some feelings of, just unworthiness, maybe self-doubt coming in before the show, where I was like putting all of these pieces together, you know, doing the whole show with the live drums, all original music, 75-minute set, and then also bringing on David for a guest artist performance. That requires a wireless rig and rack for him to run his wireless mic and wireless in-ear monitor setup so that he can be free to move around and dance as he does. And then on top of that, then I had to have the whole drum kit mic'd up so that I could have, you know, the full legit sound of a mic'd drum kit in the recording, recorded into my laptop. And then on top of that, having two cameras rolling, making sure all the settings were dialed in and everything was good to go. And yeah, I was just feeling like, holy moly, how am I going to make sure that all this happens? And on top of that, make sure that I perform at my highest level, and also, you know, just make sure everything's good to go. And I'm happy to say that it all went flawlessly. And yeah, I'm giving gratitude to myself for that too, because I did a lot of visualizations beforehand, a lot of meditations, you know, just visualizing everything going exactly the way that I planned. And yeah, and so just to see it all play out like that so beautifully, I'm grateful for that opportunity. And I'm grateful because I feel like more doors are opening up as a result of this show. Having it recorded is going to be, you know, instrumental in me getting my music onto bigger stages. And just, you know, for the connections that I made there with old friends, new friends, got to meet some people who came out to Tico Time for this festival just to see my set. And big ups, big gratitude to those people. You know who you are. Josh, Hexproof Anarchist, it was great meeting you. It was also great meeting Damon. Damon was a guy who was kind of like the tipping point in the reason why David and I put our music back up. He kept reaching out to me on Instagram. His Instagram is I, as in the I, Realize Unity. And he does some amazing art. So shout out to Damon. Thanks for pushing us in the direction of re-releasing that music in the form of our album Manifestation, which, if you haven't heard it, is once again out on all platforms. And yeah, 10 tracks with King David James, some of the old ones, and we also have a couple new ones on there. So yeah, just so much gratitude for everything. And also had the opportunity to be a part of a couple panel discussions / jam sessions with Marv from Free Creatures. Super good to meet him. Free Creatures is awesome. Definitely would recommend checking out their music. They're a trio with Marv does like the tracks and electronic drum kind of stuff. Then they have a awesome shredder guitarist, and this gal who's Marv's partner, who plays upright bass and also plays trumpet. So go check out Free Creatures, they're amazing. So I had the opportunity to be on a panel with him and connect with him a little bit. Also Sierra Marin, big shout out Sierra. Had heard very many positive things about her music, but hadn't had the opportunity to meet her, and so I got to literally meet her at this panel discussion where we got to jam on the fly with her, and also Coop Mandala, who's a friend of mine who I met several years ago at a festival called Totality. And Coop was bringing his looper and I brought my looper. We had 2 looper sessions going at the same time, and then Sierra Marin sharing her songs. So that was the songwriter panel. Super special to be a part of that. And then on the last day, on Sunday, hopefully the audio is okay for you guys. It's a little windy right now. We got this trippy storm coming in here in Sedona. Kind of love it when it gets like this. The sky gets all dark and broody, and the sky turns all these crazy colors. But anyways, hopefully the audio is not too bad for y'all. I should have probably brought the other camera setup with the legit mic. But anyways, amazing times, and just so grateful to be a part of that festival, and looking forward to bigger and more shows and sharing my gifts with more people. And yeah, the performance on main stage was just epic. I was a little bit worried about the time slot too, because it was 11 o'clock a.m. and you know, that's early for a Saturday morning. People are at a festival, people are up late sleeping in, and when the set started, it was like looking like it was gonna rain and I was like, oh man, and there was like nobody there. And then, you know, I started bringing the vibes heavy right out of the gate, and the sun came out, and so did the people. And yeah, by the end of the set, we had King David James up on stage ripping it on the mic, and we had the whole house rocking, and it was packed, and it just felt so good. And so I just wanted to share my gratitude with you all for being there, being a part of it if you were there. And even if you weren't there, if you're just following along, thanks for being a part of my journey. Thanks for encouraging the words of support. And I had a lot of people actually commenting on these walk-in talks, saying how much they appreciate these walk-in talks. And I haven't been sure, you know, if these are of value to people, just because of they haven't been getting as much views and engagement as my other stuff, my music stuff that I post. But you know what, I'm gonna keep posting them, because as someone named Mickey, Mama Mickey, who I met at the festival, also a friend of Elias Clay, she said, it doesn't matter how many people are watching your walk-in talks. What matters is that you're putting the energy, the positive vibration, the energy out into the field. And I agree with her. That is what matters. And so I'm just gonna keep doing these, you know? And so anyways, that kind of wraps up this portion of the video. Thank you so much for coming out to Rising Vibes if you were there, and thank you to everyone who supported me along my journey. Thank you to my mom and my parents. My parents have been very supportive of me my entire life, and I'm so grateful for my dad. He's not here with me anymore. He passed away when I was 14. He was killed by a doctor, you know, as many people are, by pharmaceutical drugs taken as prescribed. But he still lives on in my heart, and I believe that he was liberated to a higher dimension. And I still feel him with me every day. And he had a lot of qualities that I am carrying on in myself. He was very meticulous, he was very organized, he was very empathetic and compassionate and selfless, and he was very creative, and he was very smart, very intelligent, very ingenious, very good at coming up with solutions to problems, very good problem solver. And those are qualities that I am working to carry with me in my life. And when I get to, you know, put everything, synthesize all of my gifts together into a show like I was able to do this weekend at Rising Vibes, I feel him with me stronger than ever. And so right now I'm just riding high on those frequencies, those vibrations, and feeling more inspired than ever to continue coming with the fire and to continue living my purpose. And I actually recorded a walk and talk the other day that got lost. I was managing a bunch of media files and I accidentally deleted this walk and talk. So I'm going to summarize for you what I was talking about in that walk and talk here in this one. And basically it's this. If you feel like there's something that you need to be doing, if you feel a nagging sensation of like, oh, this is what I'm here to do, and maybe you haven't started yet, or maybe you have started, but maybe you're having trouble showing up. Maybe you're procrastinating on a goal that feels important to you. The thing is this life is so sacred, and every single day we have an opportunity to show up and create. Every single day we have an opportunity to show up and create, and to live in our highest frequency, and to live in our highest embodiment possible. So whatever it is that is your gift to give, whatever is your talent, your purpose, maybe you don't know what it is, but maybe you have an inclination towards something. Like maybe your heart is telling you, I really want to learn to play guitar, or I really want to learn to draw, but I don't know where to start. Just start. Just start showing up to the fullest of your ability and watch what happens. Watch how instantly the creation around you, because this is a holographic fractal reality that we're co-creating, and everything that we experience is in a way a projection of our individuality, right? And watch how quickly things start to manifest and materialize around you, and watch how the power of Creator comes to your aid to support you in spreading your gifts, supports you with energy and intention and inspiration. So, you know, right now I'm feeling that strong support, that strong energetic push to continue doing what I'm doing. And you know, one of my teachers, Nassim Haramein, you might be familiar with him, from Resonance Academy, he calls this feed forward, which is where when somebody is engaging in a positive creation, it creates a feed forward loop. We like to call it a feedback loop in our culture, our language. We typically call it a feedback loop, but we're not actually feeding back, we're feeding forward, right? All of the positive affirmations that people so kindly brought to me after I performed at Rise and Vibes, and after I shared at these panels and brought my fullest presence that I possibly could, my best self that I could possibly bring to this event. After all of that, all of the positive affirmations, those are feed forward. Those are giving me more energy to continue moving forward and continue to shine my light and my gifts into this world. And I'm passing that on to you right now in this video. If you're watching this video, I'm sending you words of encouragement, prayers of encouragement to follow whatever your dreams are, because every single being on this earth was born to do something great with their life. That's something that one of my teachers, Ed Milet, says a lot of times. You were born to do something great with your life. You know, and I believe that we were all born to do something great with our lives. So let this be a reminder, a prayer, a setting into motion. If you're not already in motion, maybe you are, and if you are, may that motion continue. May that momentum continue forward on this journey. But every one of us is here to create something. Every one of us has some kind of creative gift, you know? Maybe it's not music, maybe it's not art, but we're creators in consciousness. Oh, look at these clouds over here. Epic. It feels powerful to be back in Sedona right now. I'm feeling the power of the land, and I feel like we're going to have a monsoon season this summer. We didn't have a monsoon season last summer, but the monsoon season here is absolutely insane, where we get these crazy storms. Oh, actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually raining over there ahead. You can definitely see some rain coming down. But we get these absolutely monumental thunderstorms that come in. And yeah. So anyways, thanks for tuning into this video. Thanks that if you were there this weekend. And I'm just sending lots of gratitude and love and blessings your way. And creative energy, creative life force. Prana, mana, yama, pranayama. And on another note, I would like to call some attention to some of the darkness that's happening in the world, because the war is still raging. And actually, really the only war is on our minds. Really the only war in existence is on the minds of the people. But the genocide is certainly raging in Gaza and Rafah, as houses are being bulldozed and people are being forced out of their homes at gunpoint. Many, many people are being murdered. Bombs are being dropped. People are being shot. Many, many civilians being murdered. And once again, you know, even if this gets me removed from YouTube for saying this, it's clearly a genocide that's happening in Gaza. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, this is a genocide and it needs to be stopped, and people need to speak up. You know, I feel like when this first started happening, people were outraged, and it almost seems like the war on people's consciousness has even been distracting people from what's actually going on, and how this is still raging, and it's still, you know, moving towards more inter-country, more worldwide, realm-wide geopolitical conflicts, getting Iran involved. And you know, the United States is still shipping shitloads of weapons over to Israel, and shitloads of bombs that are being paid for by the people in this country. And if you are still paying your taxes, if you're still paying the criminal cabal known as the United States government a cut of your income so that they can continue to fund this genocide, continue to directly support this genocide through the use of weapons, through the use of AI-powered killing machines and drones, autonomous drones and killing machines that are literally going around and, you know, just murdering shitloads of people in Gaza right now as we speak. I saw in Max Egan's video today, he said something, and you know, I'm not going to cite this, but ostensibly, I think he said more bombs have been dropped in the last, 6 months than in the entire Iraq war, or in the entire Afghanistan war. I can't remember if it was Iraq or Afghanistan, but either way, like in more than 10, 12 years, in just this short period of time in Gaza, more bombs have been dropped. And the destruction, the drone footage that I've been seeing, it's absolutely horrendous what's going on. So I'm using my voice once again to speak up about it. And in case you haven't heard, I also wrote a song about it called Sing and Pray. And the song got barely any attention for whatever reason. I shared it out with some big people. I shared it to Max. I think he reposted it. I shared it to my friend Howard from Art of Liberty Foundation, and I need help sharing it because, you know, I'm doing my best to speak the truth and speak out about what's going on, and I need your help. So if you haven't seen Sing and Pray, please go watch it. If you haven't shared it, please go share it with some people. You know, and even if you want to go and download the video, rip it off of YouTube and re-upload it to some other places like Rumble and BitChute and whatever, please do that. That would be very helpful. All I ask is that you simply link it back to me, link back to presencemusic.com if you share any of my work. But yeah, I don't really believe in copyright. I was telling some people at the festival this. I think copyright is kind of bullshit. The idea of intellectual property is kind of bullshit. I think creations should be created and shared and spread freely with as many people as possible, open sourced. You know, some of the best technology in the world has been created open source. A good example is OBS, the software that I'm using to stream with. It's an open source software. It became the biggest streaming software in the world, and the best, most flexible, one of the most powerful streaming softwares in the world, created by some people who just open sourced it and gave it out for free. And you know what? I bet those people are still ballers. I bet you those people are still making a shitload of money because they deserve to, because they created something beautiful and they probably accept donations, right? And you know what's the great thing about accepting donations is that donations can't be taxed, right? So let's open source. And that's what I'd like to do with my music. At the festival, I was handing out flash drives with all of my original masters on them. And I said, please spread it far and wide. Go share it, go re-upload it anywhere you want. Share it far and wide. Do whatever you want with it. Send it to your friends, give it to your family. People are like, are you selling CDs? I'm like, no, I'm not selling CDs. I'm giving it all away. Because that's the time that we're living in. Let's give it all away. Let's give our life force freely away and trust that we will be replenished by the life force of the grand prime creator, whatever you want to call creation, right? But yeah, for my song Sing and Pray, please go spread it. You know, that song is a powerful call to action, a wake-up call about what's going on in Gaza. I put some powerful footage in there of the destruction and the war and the terrorization that's happening as a result of the terrorist state of Israel, you know? And of course YouTube censored it. They soft censored it. They didn't remove it, but they said this content contains graphic imagery. Oh, really? Graphic imagery? I think it's pretty funny because the amount of graphic imagery used to propagandize the people and continue to push deceptions on the people and to continue to warmonger. There's no shortage of graphic imagery being used for those purposes. But of course, if graphic imagery is being used to promote a message of peace, then they're going to soft censor you and then put a little wall up in front of my video saying, I understand and wish to proceed. This video contains graphic content. Even though like it's not even that graphic. It's like showing some kids buried under rubble, showing some guys with guns shooting at stuff, you know. It's not even anything that graphic, right? But yeah, I really hope that y'all will share that video because, you know, I put a lot of effort and intention into that song. And, you know, I don't want to keep making war songs. I don't want to keep making anti-war songs. I want to make more high vibrational music. I want to make music about how beautiful this life is and how grateful I am for this life and the blessings that are bestowed upon us when we align ourselves with divine will. But at the rate things are going, I'm going to continue to have to make freedom music, truth music. And it's not something that I particularly love doing. You know, I'd rather make music about peace, music about love. And I know it's my choice. I know it's my choice either way, one way or the other. And I know that one way or the other, the music has a positive influence. But at the same time, I'm not going to be one of those people who just is all peace and love all the time. Everything's peace and love. Everything's divine. Yeah, everything's divine. But there's shitloads of women and children and innocent civilians being brutally murdered by the terrorist state of Israel. in Gaza and Rafah and the West Bank, and you know, also the whole Ukraine bullshit too. All a bunch of bullshit, all just a big money laundering scheme so that the criminals in the criminal cabal in the USSA can continue to manufacture all of these ridiculous weapons, AI-powered weapons, and long-range sniper missiles and drones, you know, killing machines, and continue to support the military-industrial complex and ship those weapons overseas and propagandize the public into believing that we need to be supporting the Ukraine. Oh, I stand with Ukraine. It's like, shut the fuck up. These people are, you know, being brutally murdered while they are, you know, essentially poking the belly of the beast. You know, NATO just going right up to the Russian border, poking the belly of the beast, and Russia's like, please just leave us alone. Like, all we want is to be left alone. You know, they're not instigating the conflict. Clearly, Russia is not instigating the conflict, right? Clearly, Russia is defending themselves against the instigator, aka NATO. It's not just Ukraine, it's clearly NATO and all these NATO countries that are profiting massively, and all of the military-industrial complex that's massively profiting off of the creation and selling of all of these ridiculously overpowered weapons systems, right? And they're poking the bear. They're poking what has become a very, very strong world power of Russia. And no, I don't believe in the validity or the legitimacy or the morality of any government, right? I've said this many times. I'm a voluntarist, which means by definition that all human interaction must be voluntary, otherwise it's immoral. If any human interaction is involuntary, aka anything that government does is by definition involuntary, because government is nothing more than a command backed by the threat of force. Let me say that again. Government is nothing more than a command backed by the threat of force. Try to refute that. Try to think of one thing that government does that is not a command backed by the threat of force. Oh, you might be saying, well, the government builds the roads. Who would build the roads if it wasn't for government, right? But the roads, even that, they're commands backed by the threat of force. Because one group of people, a collective known as government, is hiring contractors using money that they have to steal from you, from people like you and me, or print, which also is a form of theft because it's inflating the currency supply. So it's involuntary action, right? Maybe it's doing something that we need, maybe it's something that we want, like roads, public services, whatever you want to call it. But it's still immoral on its face because it's nothing more than a command, a law, something like that, backed by the threat of force. If you don't pay, then we will force you to pay, right? Or we'll coerce you, or we'll wage war on your mind, right? Going back to the tax thing briefly, if you're not familiar, I'd highly recommend looking into Freedom Law School. Freedom Law School is an organization led by a guy named Peymon Moteade. And Peymon, I believe he was an immigrant here from Iran, something like that. And he essentially studied the IRS tax code front to back, found out that it's complete, essentially bullshit. It's essentially, there's not actually anything that requires the average American to file and pay income tax. It's simply just a form of mind control, coercion, making everybody believe that they have to. And when you file, and actually 60% of Americans, according to Peymon, don't file. And most of the people who don't file, almost all of them never get fucked with, ever. They never get audited, anything like that. The problem is people are coerced through fear into thinking that they need to file, thinking that if they don't file that there will be consequences. And when you file, what Peymon says is you're essentially putting a noose around your neck and handing it to the tyrants. because you're engaging in a contract with them that allows them to then come and fuck with you and audit you and ruin your life and all the things that government and the IRS loves to do. But if you go and watch Larkin Rose's video, The Tiny Dot, which actually creates a visual representation of the amount of government enforcers relative to the amount of American citizens, you will see very clearly that the only thing preventing us from being completely free is us just refusing to rise up. As soon as we just rise up and stop complying with their bullshit, we become free. And there's a very, 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 very small number of people who have developed huge weapons and huge fear campaigns and propaganda campaigns to convince the average American that they're weak and powerless. But I'm here to tell you that you're actually strong and powerful. You have to remember who and what you truly are. You have to live fearlessly in the righteousness of creation, knowing that if you live in alignment with creation and natural law, that you'll be supported by Creator. And I live in full faith, knowing that if I do things like refusing to file and pay any income tax, that I am protected by creation. I'm protected by Creator, because I know in my heart that these criminals have no right to steal the products of my labor. Under natural law, maybe under some bullshit law that they wrote down, little bit of scribbled on a piece of paper underneath a little bit of Satanism symbolism, underneath a little bit of communism euphemism, sound legit to some dead-ass criminals, you know what I'm saying? But those little bit of scribbles on a piece of paper don't actually have any power over us when we realize, when we remember who and what we truly are, which is simply infinite consciousness. We're simply eternal souls. And once we wake up from the matrix and we remember who and what we truly are, then we will never die. Our souls become eternal. We become immortal. That's what all the ancients were focused on. The ancient Egyptians, they were focused on immortality. The immortality key. Immortality is a choice. Choice to become an immortal soul. So even if, you know, they want to pull a Ross Albright on me, they want to come lock me up and put me in a jail cell for the rest of my life, I'll still be free, because I'm free in my mind. First, I have no fear. You know, David Icke is always asked, why haven't you been taken out yet? Why haven't they just come and arrested you or murdered you or suicided you or whatever? And you know what he says? He says, because I have no fear. Because I don't even entertain the possibility that that could happen. And that's one of the greatest pieces of advice when it comes to breaking free from the matrix, is you have to have full faith in yourself. Have full faith in creation. That if you're aligned with doing the right thing, creating, living in love and peace and service, not causing harm to any other beings, living in alignment with natural law, not funding any kinds of criminal, government, authoritarian bullshit, funding wars, funding propaganda campaigns, funding the enslavement of your fellow brothers and sisters. When you live in alignment with truth and righteousness, then there's no rule over you anymore. You've essentially broken the matrix at that point. That's what the song Elias and I wrote, Rule and Illusion, is about. They do not rule over we now. They rule an illusion. They rule an illusion. And if you buy into the illusion, if you believe in the illusion, then they do rule over you. That's the thing. But the illusion that they rule over is simply there to show you, to teach you that you are the one who chooses your freedom. The time has come to choose to be free, 'cause we're living through a scam. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's all a scam. Government's all a scam. Politicians are all a scam. The belief in authority is a scam. And I'm happy to tell you that many people are waking up. But something else that I've been thinking about recently is that I used to be very attached to this idea that I had some kind of duty to save people, right? That humanity is going to eventually all wake up together and we're all going to go off into the sunset holding hands together, singing and dancing and loving and enjoy. And it's not something that I really resonate with anymore. And I'll tell you why. I think that this whole realm that we find ourselves in, this grand illusion that we find ourselves in, is simply here. We've simply come here to advance our soul, our individual soul. There is no such thing as the collective. Collectivism is one of the main forms of the deception. Collectivism is one of the main illusions that's being pushed on us. And this idea that we're not going to be free until all of us are free. This whole idea that we have to save everybody. And that, we have a responsibility to wake up our fellow brothers and sisters. I don't really believe that anymore. And let me know down in the comments if you feel a similar way. And I'm not saying that I am any less responsible for doing the one great work, as Mark Passio calls it. I'm not saying that I'm any less responsible for, serving my purpose, doing my mission, doing my dharma. But I see that all now more it's a more personal thing. I'm doing that work because it leads to the emancipation of my own soul. And the emancipation of my own soul is really the only thing that might have the beautiful side effect of emancipating and freeing other souls in the process. And when that happens, that's beautiful. When I got on stage this past weekend at Rise and Vibes and I was sharing my message and sharing my music, I could see that people's minds were breaking free from the matrix. And that's one of the most beautiful things to witness, and I'm so grateful to witness that. But that only can happen through my own personal liberation, first and foremost. And this whole idea of the collective, humanity in the aggregate, yes, I agree with Mark Passio on this idea he calls the law of freedom, which is as morality increases in the collective, so too does freedom increase in the collective. But I also see on the other side of the coin that when a man or a woman or a being or whatever is truly free in his heart and mind, then it's almost as though there's a space-time, there's almost as though there's a dimensional warp around them, protecting them. Because again, this physical reality, right? People in Gaza being physically, violently, brutally murdered. Physical reality, right? But there's people who are standing in the eye of the storm, unaffected, right? If war comes and ravages the United States, as people think it's going to happen, people fear-mongering that that's going to happen, so be it. It's all good. Because I feel faith in divine will, that this meat suit that I inhabit is just a temporary thing, and that my consciousness of my soul is eternal, and that I am a immortal being of consciousness. And that awakening to that realization of ourselves as immortal beings of consciousness, I think really is it really is the crux of what we've come here to learn, in a way. Jeff Berwick the other day was talking about how there was these fires in Acapulco, and he's like, I've been meditating for 3 hours a day, and you know, having these insane divine meditations. And you know, Jeff also kind of helped me break out of this matrix, because he's like, yeah, I'm just enjoying watching the apocalypse as an observer, you know, having fun watching it. You know, despite the horrendous atrocities that are happening around the world, or that appear to be happening in this illusion, right? Despite these horrendous atrocities. But it's like, once we detach from the Maya, the illusion, the suffering of the self, and the suffering of the collective, and we realize that it's all just there to teach us what we need to learn, right? And even each individual soul incarnated in a particular body, in a particular life circumstance, a set of circumstances, because of probably thousands of past lifetimes where they experience many, 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 many different forms of experience, right? And this lifetime that we're currently existing in is just the aggregation of all those experiences and all of that karma. And to give thanks to Creator for this beautiful illusion, right? Giving thanks for all the past lifetimes that led to this current lifetime. Giving thanks for this unique experience. Every single one of us has been given the opportunity to have a completely unique experience. And that feeling of deja vu, like you've having experienced something before. I've been getting that a lot lately. The feeling of like intense deja vu, like, whoa, I've experienced this exact same thing before. It's that reminder. It's like that, wake up. Wake up. This is all just a grand illusion. And once we wake up to that, that's when true freedom exists. That's when we truly stop fearing death, because we realize that we're an immortal soul. Sure, you can take this body. You could kill this physical body, but I'm an immortal soul. And only in the trappings of the third dimensional consciousness, the slave consciousness, would I ever fear death. Powerful energy today in Sedona. Been walking around the neighborhood like 50,000 times now. Been rambling on for almost 50 minutes here. So I think I'm going to wrap this video up for today. Thanks for tuning in. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, type in the comments down below, yo, I made it all the way to the end. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'm just sharing my perspective because I feel like if more people awaken themselves from the illusion of slavery, awaken from the matrix, and they share that consciousness out, that could lead to more people doing the same thing. Actually, it must. It inevitably will lead to more people awakening from the illusion. You know? And I think Max Egan often says, I don't have a stake in the outcome. I kind of get what he means by that now. I never used to get what he meant by that. As like somebody who really identifies with this like mission-driven the vibration of like, oh, I have a mission to come here and save everybody and wake everybody up. But like, that kind of perspective was born from my own asleepness, if that makes sense. And the truly awakened being knows that this is all just a play. This is all just consciousness experiencing itself. And yeah, I don't have any stake in the outcome at this point. I'm just here to awaken fully. And I hope that other people do too, because I think it would be a lot more fun. Again, I agree with Mark Passio's law of freedom. As morality increases, freedom increases. As people awaken and act more moral in the collective, then more freedom spontaneously emerges, and more beauty and more beautiful co-creation, more wealth and prosperity emerges. And I do hope for that, because that sounds amazing. That is what I'm praying for. Wealth, prosperity, health, abundance, peace, love, freedom. That is what I'm praying for. But if I have a stake in the outcome, then I'm robbing myself of the true freedom that I could be experiencing. So I'm going to continue praying for all of that and maintain no stake in the outcome. I'm going to be fully free as much as I possibly can. And I wish the same for you. So thanks again for tuning into this video. Peace, blessings, prosperity. Take care. That's my forerunner. She's a beast. I love her very much. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day.